Conservative new media viewers, LA Lakers fans around the world, JLin fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss in the long video format the Lakers' 113-105 defeat tonight in overtime to the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. With the loss, the Lakers fall to 13-36 on the season, and the Bucks improve to 27-22 with the win. It is the Bucks' fifth win in a row. Let's go over stats quickly now. For the triumphant Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, I know I didn't say his name right, sorry, it's a difficult name to say. 25 points, 6 rebounds. And for the rest of this video, I will refer to Giannis just as Giannis, just to make things simpler. Brandon Knight, who just returned from an injury, I believe, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Chris Middleton, starting shooting guard, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. O.J. Mayo off the bench with 21 points. For the Lakers, they were led by Carlos Boozer, who himself came off the bench, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Excellent game for Carlos for sure. Wayne Ellington, 19 points tonight. Nick Young off the bench with 16 points and 3 rebounds. Robert Sacre had 10 points and 4 rebounds. He actually played fairly well in his time on the court. Ed Davis, 7 points and 20 rebounds. JLin, 11 points in 30 minutes played. 2 of 12 shooting, including 1 of 3 from three-point range. 6 of 6 free throws made. 3 rebounds, 6 assists. 1 steal, 1 block shot, 1 turnover. Jeremy had 6 fouls, which means that he fouled out of the game, which happened in the overtime. And Jeremy's plus-minus was a -8. Now, let me just say quickly, we did make a short video about this game, so if you want to check that out, just go on our page, and it will be the video immediately preceding this video. If you just want to check that out, it's about 6 minutes long. So if you want to watch that first and then check this out, you can do that or whatever you'd like. What happened in this game was the Lakers were down 2 points after the first quarter. And the Bucks defense was giving them a bunch of trouble. Really difficult. And Milwaukee coming into this game had the second best defense in the NBA by defensive rating. Defensive rating is just it means how many points a team gives up per 100 possessions. And the reason why it is used rather than points per game is because teams play at different paces. And what pace means is how many possessions you are getting in 48 minutes. So in order to standardize defensive measurement, they use defensive rating because then everybody is graded on a per 100 possessions basis. And so then you're basically taking pace out of it, because some teams play fast and some teams play slow, and that can skew the points per game. And so defensive rating is kind of like the gold standard of how to measure defense. And the Bucks came into this game second in the league in defensive rating, behind only the Golden State Warriors. So their defense is very good, and the Lakers couldn't figure it out in the first quarter. For much of the first quarter. But the Lakers did figure it out in the second quarter. And they outscored Milwaukee by 10 points in that quarter. So the Lakers were up 8 points heading into halftime. Then Milwaukee came out much stronger in the third quarter. They outscored the Lakers by 14 points. So after 3 quarters, the Lakers were down by, 6 points, 6 or 8 points, one of those two. And then in the fourth quarter, the Lakers actually played really strong, and they had the lead and they were in control of the game. So this game went up and down. And with a couple minutes left, the Lakers had the game in hand, and it looked like they were going to win. JLin hit a three-pointer with about 28 seconds left, and that looked like that was it. That looked like the dagger, as is often said. But it turned out not to be the dagger, because the Bucks were able to hit a three-pointer late in regulation, and we sent the game into overtime, and then in overtime, basically, the Bucks kind of seized control and were able to kind of hold off LA and get the comeback victory. So that's kind of what happened from an overall perspective. In terms of how Jeremy did in this game, obviously he didn't shoot the ball well. 2 out of 12. So that's not good. I mean, that's, I don't know, what, about 18%, something like that. And you're going to have nights like that. And a lot of people are concerned about Jeremy's shot, not all his shooting motion and all, and I'll talk more about that later. Besides the shooting, I thought he played great tonight. He played terrific defense, despite the fact that Brandon Knight got hot late. Jeremy played excellent defense in this game. He controlled the offense for the team extremely well. He really was in command of the offense. He had good confidence. He had it going tonight, and that was good to see. And his assist to turnover ratio was 6-1, which is incredible, just phenomenal. So that was terrific. The only other thing I can say about him that you could say is negative, besides the shooting, was the final play in regulation, or the final play for the Lakers in regulation, or, well, it wasn't. It was the second to last possession in regulation, where Jeremy ended up taking kind of I think it was a three-pointer that it just looked terrible, and he had Wayne Ellington wide open over to his left. Although, as Melody Ting told me on Twitter, the shot clock was low, and so Jeremy kind of had to take the shot. That's true. That is accurate. And besides, that's the only play I can really criticize of him tonight. And it wasn't just him. It didn't look good because Wayne Ellington was wide open to his left, and it looked like Jeremy was kind of pounding the dribble a little bit longer than he should have, meaning dribbling rather than passing or shooting on that play. But look, other than that, he played fantastic in this game. This is one of his better performances of the year, actually. So, okay, now let's discuss the lead up to the game. This is what we do. I go over the game quickly. I give the stats. I talk about how the team played as an overview. Then I talk about how Jeremy played as an overview. Then we go over what happened before the game, leading up to the game, and then we talk about the game itself. And then if there's information, then I talk about what happened after the game, like in interviews and this type of thing. And then we kind of wrap everything up and talk about the next game. Now, the first thing I want to say before the game is I made a video giving an example of JLin getting a hockey assist. And the play is involving, it was the sequence in the Knicks game where Jeremy passed the ball to Ed Davis. Ed Davis passed the ball to Carlos Boozer, and it ended up in a dunk. And there was a great play. It was just a perfect example of good teamwork, and it was a fun play. So I was able to get that video and use it So we certainly, if you haven't seen it yet, we encourage you to go and check it out. It's kind of breaking down the play and how it developed and why it's a hockey assist, if you're not familiar with that term, and just the whole thing. So it's about 2.5 minutes long, and just go to our channel, go to the videos. You don't even actually have to go to the videos. It'll probably just appear on the main channel page, and it is the video before tonight's short video for the Milwaukee game. So it'll be like the third video. When I put this video up, it'll be the third most recent video. It'll be long video, this video, short video from the night, and then that video. So I encourage you to go and check that out if you haven't seen it. A lot of people have asked me to do videos like B-ball breakdown, like Coach Nick does. That's what this is. And I told people on Twitter, when John and myself have some better technology, I need a little bit better technology to be able to do this. So when we have better technology and we're clear or we're cool in terms of using NBA footage because there's copyright issues with that, then I'll make more videos like this. I love making them. They're fun. I mean, they take a little while to do, but they're very enjoyable to do. And I know people prefer them often over these videos, the talking videos, like a video podcast. But that's the reason why we haven't done it. Tech and copyright. So as we work to get that stuff better and figured out, then I'll make more videos like that. So stay tuned. We're always working on stuff. There's always a plan. It just takes time to implement the plan. Okay, now one of the storylines coming into this game was the drama or tension going on between Swaggy P, Nick Young, and Coach Byron Scott. Swaggy was not happy that he didn't play in the last game. And he said that after the game, I believe. And so it was kind of like, hey, what's going on here? Is Swaggy in the doghouse of Byron Scott? Meaning is, for those that are not native English speakers, that expression means, is Byron Scott mad at Nick Young? Is there a reason why he's not playing Nick Young? So this was kind of building up. But apparently Nick and Coach Scott met, and they talked, and supposedly everything's all cool and settled, and obviously Nick played in the game tonight. And Nick said about Byron Scott that Byron is quote-unquote old school. Now, I don't know exactly what that means in this context, but we've discussed Byron as being an old school coach before, meaning he likes to work players hard. He wants to be in command, and he's the big boss, and the players just kind of listen and go along with stuff, and so on and so forth. Whereas more recent or newer coaches, new school, a lot of those coaches are more buddy-buddy with the players. They kind of give the players more leeway. And Byron Scott's not really like that. So I think that's kind of what Nick was referring to. But like I said, supposedly that's all fixed now and everything's cool. Another thing coming into this game was the subplot between Jason Kidd, the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Byron Scott. And if you're not familiar with their history together, Byron was the coach of two New Jersey Nets teams that reached the NBA Finals. And those teams were led by Jason Kidd. However, soon after those two finals appearances, Jason Kidd essentially, or supposedly, wanted Byron Scott fired as the coach of the Nets. And that's what ended up happening. So that was the first player revolt or player backlash against Byron Scott as a coach, that, or at least the first one that became really public or a huge deal. This is something that Byron Scott has had an issue with at different points in his coaching career. He just rubs people the wrong way. Guys don't think he's a great coach, and so they want somebody else. Or I think that's kind of the perception anyway. That's my understanding of some of the issues with Byron. And so there was tension. There's always going to be tension between those two. And I think they were both asked about it before the game. Kid didn't say anything about it. He just kind of blew it off. And Byron Scott apparently said that back during that time that Jason Kidd was kind of known as a jerk. Or just that wasn't the word that Byron used, but I'm not going to say the word that Byron used, but you can kind of fill in the blank for yourself. So, look, Byron's honest, and the truth is Jason was kind of known as a jerk at that time, and he's been known as a jerk at different points of his career, even though I like Jason Kidd, or I grew up liking him. One thing you have to say for Jason Kidd, though, no matter what his personality is, or how he, or whatever his attitude is, he's got a great basketball mind, and it's clear to me, at least, that he definitely can coach. He after a very tough start with the Brooklyn Nets last year, he totally turned that team around, and he's done a great job with the Bucks. So I don't know Jason Kidd's interpersonal skills are, but he definitely can coach, and it's working out well for Milwaukee so far. Okay, now another report I did not see firsthand, but I was told about it secondhand from Sean Devaney of Sporting News, and Devaney definitely has had sources around the Lakers before, or at least around the Lakers players. So I believe this. Apparently, Devaney said that JLin is available for a trade. In other words, the Lakers are willing to trade him, but supposedly they haven't gotten the offers that they want for him, or the market for him isn't that strong. Is that a real shock? No, because this all goes into, well, Jeremy's contract is supposedly really big, and nobody wants to pay him that, and so on and so forth. Is that true? I could see it being true. I think teams are interested in Jeremy, but they might not be interested in him at that contract figure, which is for this year $8 million on the books, I believe. So, look, this isn't the first we've heard this. We've heard before that Jeremy's available to be traded, or that the Lakers were looking to trade him. It fits with everything else that we've seen. And unlike how I felt maybe a month ago in terms of, well, maybe the Lakers want him and maybe they're preparing him. Now I think that it's not like that. I think that Lakers would sign Jeremy again to a lower contract, and with the idea that he's going to be a backup. And I don't know if Jeremy's really interested in that at this point in his career. We'll see. Like I said, it's up to Jeremy. If Jeremy wants to do that or stay in LA for whatever terms and contract, then more power to him. That's his decision and his team's decision to make, and we'll follow him wherever he goes. If he wants to stay there, then that's up to him. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see how it plays out. Also was mentioned by Devaney, I guess, in this, I don't know if it was an article or on a radio appearance or what it was supposedly that the Lakers are interested in Goran Dragic of the Phoenix Suns, and that's not a real surprise. Goran's a good player. Obviously, if they're interested in Dragic, then they're not as interested in Jeremy because they both are point guards. So, again, we'll just have to see what develops. The NBA trading deadline is in about 2.5 weeks on February 19th. So we'll find out soon enough. And Winnie asked me on Twitter if I know anything about a possible deal with Jeremy Lin to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the answer is no. I do know there's rumors out there, and Ish Smith, who is a member of the Thunder right now as a point guard, I believe, supposedly tweeted that he was going to become a Laker, meaning that there was some trade going on. That's the only thing I know about it. I don't think anything's been confirmed. Or anything like that. So we'll just have to see what happens. That's all I know, at least right as of this time. Now, someone, I can't remember who it is right now. Might have been Anderson who asked, and this is kind of after the game, but I'll just mention it now just to kind of get it out of the way. I was asked, why did Byron Scott use the bench more tonight? Why did he play some of the better players tonight rather than kind of going with the tank crew starters that they've been looked at by certain people, like Robert Sacre, for example? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was because he wanted to win the game more. Maybe he wanted to get the win against old nemesis Jason Kidd. Maybe it's because he's showcasing some of the guys on the bench more for possible trades. I don't really know the answer to that. I'm not sure. And one of the things that I noticed in watching the game, and I'll discuss this a little bit when we talk about the game itself, was the rotations that Byron used when he was substituting guys in and out was different than what he's done in other games. And the first thing I thought when I saw it was, it feels like he's doing this because he doesn't want to win. In other words, I'm going to mix up the substitution pattern because that gives us less of a chance to win. In other words, that's the tanking theory. An alternate theory is he's trying to experiment with different substitution patterns and see what works best for his guys. I don't know. It's either one of those could be true, or neither of them might be true. Byron has approached this season, as we know, and okay, I'm going to play this starting lineup 20 games and then this starting lineup 20 games, and so it would fit with that kind of experimentation pattern for him to do the same thing with the substitution pattern. So it might be as simple as that. I'm not really sure, and it's I don't know. It's I don't know some of the things that Byron does or why he does them. So, finally, the team went through a pretty rigorous practice yesterday, according to reports, doing some of these conditioning drills that they did in training camp and so on and so forth. And it was noted during the game by somebody on Twitter that I don't remember right now that Jeremy played 20 straight minutes at the end of the game, I think fourth quarter and overtime and so on, and that he was trying to recover from the conditioning drills yesterday. And that is all true, I believe. He did play a long stretch at a time, and they did do the conditioning drills, and that might have left him a little more worn down tonight. And that might have been why his shots were off. You have to have your legs under you to have a good jump shot, at least for most guys. some guys that don't jump very much, or they shoot more a kind of a set shot where you don't even jump. You don't need your legs as much. Jeremy definitely needs his legs. He relies on his legs heavily for his jump shot. So maybe that's why the shot was off. It could have been as simple as that. So, okay, that is the pregame information. Now we're going to talk about the game itself and go over some selected quarter-by-quarter information here. Now, the starting lineup tonight was Jordan Clarkson, Wayne Ellington, Ryan Kelly, Tarek Black starting for the injured Jordan Hill, who missed the game because of his strained hip flexor, and Robert Sacre. Okay, going on into the middle of the first, Robert Sacre had an excellent dunk for the Lakers, and that put them behind by just 1 point, 11-10. Robert had some nice moments in this game. He wasn't just content to sit outside and shoot jump shots. He actually was doing post moves and going aggressively to the basket. Like I said, look, if Robert could develop some real skill around the basket, some post-up moves, and roll to the basket on pick-and-roll plays rather than going outside to shoot jump shots, he could be a decent rotation player in this league. I mean, he's probably not going to start, at least not anytime soon, like on a team that's not tanking, but he could be a solid backup. He's, like I said previously, he's a very big guy. He's strong. He's athletic enough. He can do those things. The thing for him is he needs to shoot jump shots less and play around the basket more. And this is a moment where he did that, and it was a great play. It was a nice dunk. I also made the note that Tarek Black fouls too much. This is something that he clearly has to work on, which is he picks up fouls very quickly. And that's typical for young players and for rookies. It's just something he's going to have to work at. Jeremy came into the game with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter, and at that point, Milwaukee was up 13-12. And when he came in, Ed Davis also came into the game for Tarek Black, and I think Carlos Boozer also came in for Robert Sacre. Then he missed his first shot of the game. It was a three-pointer from about 40 degrees left of the top of the arc. It looked perfect once he shot it. I think it was just slightly long when it reached the target, when it reached the rim, but it looked great coming out of his hands. Then he had a blown assist to Ryan Kelly, who missed a three-point shot. And then I made the note that Milwaukee is swarming on defense. As I said, in the first quarter, the Lakers just couldn't adjust to it. And you could see why Milwaukee is a very good defensive team. Then Jeremy, going on late in the first, he almost had a steal against Brandon Knight. He was all over him, and Brandon almost turned the ball over, but it ended up going back to another Milwaukee player. Then Jeremy missed his second field goal attempt of the game. He went in for a layup over two Milwaukee players. It was an excellent idea. It was a nice shot. It just didn't go in. And we know that people said that Jeremy's missing a lot of shots around the rim. Yeah, he does. It's just, as I said, he's an aggressive player that challenges big players. And Jeremy himself is not a big player. So you're not going to hit all those shots. You're just not going to hit them. And I thought it was a good move, and it was a good idea. He just didn't hit the shot. Okay. Then Jeremy almost had a turnover. He wanted to pass the ball to Wesley for a three-point attempt in the left corner. So the ball kind of got away from him a little bit and was nearly picked off. and then he got the ball back, and then he did pass the ball out to Wesley for a shot that was missed. Then he had his first assist of the game. He drove into the lane, and he kicked the ball out to Nick Young for a made three-pointer from about 10 degrees right of the top of the arc. Terrific play, smart play, just heads-up play, and a nice shot by Nick. And then finally, in the quarter, Jeremy had his third missed shot of the game, a long three-pointer that just barely grazed the front of the rim as the quarter was winding down. So just one of those shots at the end of the quarter, and it was a deep shot, and he just didn't get as much legs into it as what he wanted to. So at the end of the first quarter, 26-24 for the Bucks. Okay, heading into the second quarter, this is where Jeremy had his first and only turnover of the game. I believe he ran a pick and roll with Ed Davis on the right elbow, where free throw line meets the lane, and he threw the ball up, as he's done many times with Ed, but one of the Bucks broke it up. The thing with the Bucks is they're long, they're tall, and they have long arm reach, and they're young and they're athletic, so they can make defensive plays that other teams can't make. So there's a lot of teams that play would have been successful against, but you can't do it against Milwaukee because of their athleticism and how long their bodies are. Okay, then he had a nice defensive play. He forced Jared Bayless to miss a jump shot. He got up and challenged him. Then he had another blown assist. This one was to Ed Davis for a little hook shot that Ed took, but it was blocked. Then Jeremy had his first score of the game. He did a nice reverse scoop layup. He started on the right side, like around the right baseline, and then came up and under the left side of the basket and shot the ball off the backboard in, which is a very nice play. Then more good defense. He forced O.J. Mayo to miss a layup attempt at the rim. O.J. made a cut without the basketball. This play started on the left side of the basket for the Bucks, and O.J. saw Jeremy kind of take his eyes off of him for a minute, and so O.J. then cut to the right side of the basket. He got the ball, but Jeremy realized what was happening. He recovered, and he challenged the shot and forced O.J. into a miss. It was a great play. It was a really, really nice play by Jeremy. Then he had a second assist. He passed the ball to Carlos Boozer for a layup. It was off of a hard double team or a blitz against, or hedge, whatever you want to call it, against the pick and roll. So Jeremy was running a pick and roll with Carlos, and Milwaukee aggressively double teamed Jeremy, and then because of that, Carlos was wide open and he found up on the layup. Now, what was happening at this point in time was that the Lakers were making a surge. They were pulling close to within Milwaukee. And what they were beginning to do was they were starting to use the aggressiveness of the Milwaukee defense against Milwaukee. Meaning, okay, we know you guys are going to react strongly to everything we do on offense. So we're going to get you to overreact. And once you overreact, then we're going to find the open guy. And that's what the Lakers were beginning to do. And Jeremy had a big part of doing that. And so the team was just playing better now. And they really made a surge. And they had adjusted to what Milwaukee was doing on defense. Then Jeremy almost turned the ball over. He was in transition, and he was aggressively bringing the ball up against Milwaukee's transition defense. And transition defense just means they're not set yet. They're still running back on defense. And so what Jeremy was trying to do was get into that defense and beat the defense before it got set. And it was a great idea, but he kind of lost control of the ball. And the ball squirted and it went to Carlos Boozer, who then hit a jump shot. Now, as we discussed on Twitter, Jeremy was initially given an assist on that play, which would have been his third assist of the game, but it was taken away. And I can understand why it was taken away, because it was more of kind of it just kind of happened rather than Jeremy making a determined pass to Carlos. It was kind of like the ball left and got stripped or something out of Jeremy's hand, and then Carlos recovered it and shot the jump shot rather than Jeremy deliberately passing the ball to Carlos. It was more like the ball kind of left Jeremy's hands or got stripped, and then Carlos picked it up. So it's a judgment call. I'd have to see the play again, but I can understand why they did it, and why they took the assist away from Jeremy. I don't really have a problem with it, at least without having seen the play again on replay. It seemed that seemed like a valid interpretation of what happened on the play. Then Jeremy had an assist for a foul, which is he passed the ball out to Nick Young. Nick Young went to shoot a three-pointer, and Nick was fouled while shooting, so he got 3 free throw attempts. And, of course, because he was fouled, Jeremy does not get an assist, even though he's the one that set up that play. Then there was a timeout with 8 minutes and 5 seconds left here early in the second quarter. The score was 33-30 for Milwaukee, and at that point in time, as the Lakers went to timeout, you could see Jeremy talking with Ed Davis. Like it seemed like Jeremy wasn't happy about what Ed was doing on a certain offensive play or whatever. So this is good. I mean, you have to have leadership, and as the point guard, you got to kind of control the team, and that's good. Now, after that timeout, Jordan Clarkson came in, and this was still with 8 minutes and 5 seconds left. And then I put, is Byron tanking? ? This was an early substitution. This was not normally when Jeremy would come out of the game. So this is where I started thinking, well, either Byron's experimenting with substitutions or Byron doesn't want the team to have a rhythm because he wants the team to lose. So whatever whatever the situation was, and based upon how the game was played and played out, I think it was Byron experimenting. Either he was experimenting with the lineups or he didn't like what Jeremy was doing or something. But although Jeremy had played very well up to that point in the second quarter. So I'm not sure exactly what Byron was thinking. Okay, but I will say this, though. After that substitution, the Lakers went on a run. They did go on a run, so Byron looked pretty good then, and you got to give him credit for that. And Milwaukee took a timeout with 5 minutes and 41 seconds left. I believe Milwaukee took it. It wasn't just a television timeout. And at that point, the score was 42-33 for the Lakers. So they really did go on a surge then after Jordan came back in for Jeremy. So like I said, you got to give Byron credit for that. That's what happened. Okay. Then I put, and then this is now late in the second, and then this is when I could see on the score card that Jeremy had the assist taken away. Then Jordan had a terrific play where he drove along the left baseline area, and he kicked the ball out to Nick Young for a three-pointer in the right corner. It was just a great play. It was executed perfectly. What I noticed with Jordan in this game was he was much more, at least early on, he was much more focused on passing the ball rather than shooting the ball. And so after Jordan's last outing, there was discussion about he was shooting too much. And Jordan himself said yeah, I need to kind of look to pass the ball a little bit more. And to give him credit, he was definitely doing that tonight. He came out looking to be a playmaker rather than a scorer. And that was an example of it right there, and it was working really well at this point. Then the Lakers actually got the lead to kick the lead up to 14 points. They were up 52-38. So everything had changed now, everything. Then Jordan himself had a really nice off-the-ball play on offense, meaning Jordan made a move when he did not have the ball in his hands. He cut to the basket almost like O.J. Mayo did against Jeremy. He received the pass on the right side of the basket, but the shot was then blocked. So that didn't work out, even though Jordan made a really nice play himself. Okay, then Jordan he either had 2 or 3 turnovers in a row. So after he was playing really well, then he got a little too keyed up then. He had a turnover, which led to a Milwaukee dunk. And then I think on the very next play, he got an offensive foul, which is also a turnover. And you could see then at that point in time that he was frustrated. He was mad. He was upset. And but the Lakers still had the lead. The Lakers were still looking good, even though Jordan kind of lost his rhythm or his focus a little bit at that point in time. So going into halftime, it was 54-46 for the Lakers. So they were up by 8 and looking quite good. At that point in time, Jeremy had 2 points, 0 rebounds, and 2 assists. He had his 1 turnover, and he was shooting at that point in time 1 of 4 from the field. Okay, moving on into the third. Jordan had a really bad 3-point shot attempt. It wasn't within the flow of the offense, and it was a huge brick. And then I made a note that the Lakers were looking really good on their post-up offense. Like Sacre was scoring down low, Tariq Black was scoring down low, and it was working. We were getting the ball inside and scoring off of that. And then Jordan had his 3rd turnover, and you could see that he was upset at this point now. In fact, he was more upset than he was after those 2nd turnovers in the 2nd quarter. He wasn't as upset then as he was now. You could see he was frustrated, and it just wasn't working for him at that point in time. And now the Bucks were starting to make their comeback. And they got the lead down. It had been 14 points. It was 8 at the half. The Lakers got it back up to like 11 or more points. And now the Bucks had cut it down to 6 points, 63-57. And at that point, Byron Scott took a timeout with 5 minutes and 28 seconds left, just to kind of hopefully stop the momentum that Milwaukee was building. But that wasn't going to happen, unfortunately, for the Lakers. Moving on into late in the third now, then Jordan had another crazy shot that ended up being an air ball. And very quickly after that happened, Byron Scott substituted Jeremy in for Jordan Clarkson, along with a couple of other players also came in. That was at 3 minutes and 37 seconds left in the third quarter. And the score was then 66-63 for the Lakers. So they were up by 3 points in there. Then, shortly after that, Giannis had a great play where he drove. He was being guarded by Nick Young. And this was on the left side of the basket, right around like the top of the key area, extended out a little bit to the left. Giannis drove against Nick Young with his left hand. So he was dribbling with his left hand. He and Nick bodies came together. Then Giannis spun to his right. He spun off of Nick Young and went in for a dunk. It was just an amazing play. And Giannis is I want to say he's like 20 years old now, something like that. He's very young. And I mean, he's known as a Greek freak. He's from Greece and everything. Giannis is probably legitimately like 6'10" or 6'10 and a half. He's a very tall guy, and he could still be growing. And he has extremely long arms. And when I say 6'10 and a half, I'm talking about 6'10 and a half barefoot. So in his shoes, he's like 6'11 plus. He can handle the ball. He's athletic. He's incredibly long reach. And, I mean, this guy's... I don't know exactly what his ceiling is, but it's really, really high. I just keep an eye on this guy because he's got just an incredible amount of potential, and you could see it on that play. That was just a fantastic play. Then I put, Milwaukee's on the run now. They're just long and athletic. They can just wear you down, and they're pretty deep too. So they retook the lead, and now it was 69-66. Jeremy then had 2 consecutive blown assists, one to Carlos Boozer for a missed jump shot, another one to Nick Young for a missed three-pointer. Then Jeremy had a great defensive play against Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight was in transition on a fast break. Jeremy got in front of him, and he basically grabbed the ball out of his hands, and then the ball came back out of Jeremy's hands, hit Brandon Knight on the knee, and went out of bounds. So it's just a terrific. Milwaukee they were on a big run now, and just the kind of pounding the Lakers. And that play by Jeremy it turned the momentum. Even though the run continued, it was like, okay, finally somebody from the Lakers did something positive. And so it was a really excellent play. Then Jeremy had another blown assist to Ed Davis for a layup that was missed. And then I put about Ed Davis, more nice interior passing from Ed Davis. I said this on Twitter. In the last, 10 games or something, Ed Davis has been making incredible passes inside. And when you say interior passing, that means around the low post area, like from the free throw line down. And I didn't realize Ed was so good at this. And with his combination of attributes, he's long, he's athletic, he can pass. He's going to be a heck of a player. I think Memphis might end up regretting letting him go. Although, to be fair, it's going to take him more time to really polish his skills. Probably another couple years. But boy, he can really pass on the inside. And he and Jeremy and Carlos work great together with their little passing, their little hockey assist stuff. Jeremy passes to Ed. Ed finds Carlos for easy baskets. So it's just terrific to see. Now, I missed 2 things here. We're coming up to the end of the third quarter. Jeremy, excuse me, I might sneeze. Jeremy got a blocked shot, which I did not see. And he also missed another shot, which I also didn't see as I was taking notes. So I can't comment on either of those things. End of the third quarter, 74-68 for Milwaukee. So they had totally turned things around. An 8-point Lakers lead was now a 6-point Lakers deficit. At the end of 3 quarters, Jeremy had 2 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists on 1 of 5 shooting. Now, heading into the fourth quarter, Jeremy had his 5th missed field goal of the night. He made a great perimeter offensive move. He put a fake on Jared Bayless, and he was fading away to his right, close to the right baseline. So he had a wide open jump shot, but he just missed it. Actually, he missed it badly. I think it was an air ball over the rim. So he just kind of, although it did end up going right to a Laker who put it back in for a layup. So that was good. But when I was looking at this stuff, when I was watching Jeremy shoot in this game, I was like, man, his shot just does not look good. And we've all talked about this. We've said, I've seen different people on the fan sites talking about Jeremy's form is wrong. He should be using a different form. I think that Jeremy has changed his shooting form in the last few years, or since he came into the NBA. And he might still be working to alter it slightly. I know he's done that on his three-point shooting. It's tough. When you watch Jeremy shoot, he doesn't look like a natural shooter, meaning he just doesn't look like somebody with a great natural jump shot like some guys have. Like you look at Wayne Ellington, Wayne looks like a natural shooter. Nick Young looks like a natural shooter, just in terms of their form. Jeremy has more of a mechanical form. It's a little more robotic. But to be fair here, he did have probably the tired legs coming into the game from the conditioning. So there is that. He has to keep working on that. It will get better. I'm sure of that. We know Jeremy puts in the work. He puts in long hours shooting, so it's not that he's not working at it. Does he need to change his form again? I don't know. He needs to find whatever form works for him and keep repeating it. And it will get better over time, but it's the sooner he can lock that form in and be able to make a higher percentage of these open shots, the better he's going to become. So that he can be out there, and if he's spotted up, he can hit the shots more consistently, although he does have a good catch-and-shoot ratio on shots, a good percentage, and make some of these shots. To be fair to him, he makes a good amount of these little perimeter shots. Just tonight, his shot was off. It just wasn't on tonight, and he just has to keep working at it. Then he had an assist for a foul. Ed Davis was cutting to the basket, and Jeremy saw him, and Ed went up for the dunk, and he was fouled. It was an excellent play. Then Jeremy himself was fouled. He saw that that Milwaukee's defense was off. It just wasn't in position, and so he attacked right to the basket, and he put up a little floater. That was a nice floater. It just didn't go in. But he got 2 free throw attempts and hit them both. Okay, then the Lakers were making their own little comeback here. At this point, it was 78-75 for Milwaukee, and with 8 minutes and 50 seconds left, the Bucks took a timeout. Now, moving into the middle of the fourth quarter, Jeremy was called for a foul, which I thought wasn't a great call. Looked like he almost got a steal, but they called a foul instead. Then Jeremy was driving hard to the basket, and he looked like he got kind of hit in the face or something. I thought he was going to get shots, but I don't think that he did. And soon after that, Jeremy slipped down to the floor while he was dribbling along the right side of the court. And it was really smart. He called a timeout, because if he wouldn't have called a timeout, it would have been a jump ball, meaning Milwaukee would have grabbed at the ball and tied him up, or else if he would have stood up, it would have been a travel. So it was a smart play by him. And that came with the score 80-77, I believe, with 7 minutes and 1 second left. Then coming out of the timeout, LA continued their comeback. Jeremy had a tough play on defense. Like somebody hit a shot over him that didn't mark down. That was just, he was playing great defense, but they were able to hit the shot over him. Then he had another hockey assist type of play where he did the pick and roll with Ed Davis, passed the ball to Ed Davis. Ed Davis passed the ball to Carlos Boozer for an easy layup. Like I said, those three have developed some very nice chemistry together, and that play is over there all the time. Then late in the fourth, Now the Lakers they were continuing on their comeback. They had totally seized the momentum of the game. They had taken control, and Jeremy was all over it. He then had another assist to Carlos Boozer for a layup, and after that play, that put the Lakers up 85-82. And at that point, I put, he's taken over. Jeremy was in control of the game now. He was setting the pace, setting the tempo, and kind of carving up Milwaukee's defense at this point. Then Jeremy had a missed layup, but what happened was 2 Milwaukee Bucks came on him to defend, so he missed the layup. But then Ed Davis was wide open for an offensive rebound and putbacks. That's exactly what happened. The Lakers went up 87-82 now, and there was 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and Milwaukee took a timeout. So like I said, the Lakers looked in full control now. Then Milwaukee, but they weren't quite done. They cut the lead down to 87-85. Then Jeremy had another of these plays where he missed a layup right at the rim, but Ed Davis was right there for the follow-up, and he put back a dunk. So, like I said, even though those plays are missed shots, they're not bad because the defense collapses on Jeremy, and so somebody like Ed Davis is right there to get an offensive rebound, which is exactly what happened. Then Jeremy had a good defense where he stopped Brandon Knight on a drive. He then had an assist to, I can't remember who it was. That made the score 91-85 for the Lakers. So now they were up 6. Then Milwaukee scored the next 6 points of the game to make it 91-91. And then Jeremy hit a 3-point shot. I can't remember now where he hit it from. And that looked like it was going to be enough for the Lakers to win. There was about maybe 28 seconds left or something like that, or something around that. And that put the Lakers up 3, 94-91. And then this is the play where it just was a tough play, or a mistake was made or something. Jeremy had the ball at the top of the arc, pretty much about dead center. And the shot clock was running down. Wayne Ellington ran to Jeremy's left and was positioned on the 3-point line. I thought Jeremy could have passed it to him, and Wayne would have had a wide open shot. But according to Melanie Ting, and I don't remember what the shot clock was at, to be honest with you. I was on the phone at the time. I was watching the game, but I couldn't fully concentrate on the game. When watching the play, it looked like Jeremy was dribbling too much and not getting the play in motion quickly enough. To be fair, Milwaukee was playing good defense, and I do think the shot clock was low. So Jeremy ended up putting up a shot, or attempting to put up a shot. I think actually a shot clock violation was called, meaning the 24-second clock ran out. And it didn't look great. It didn't. When you saw the play in real time, it looked like Jeremy messed up. But again, I do think there was a low shot clock. Milwaukee was playing good defense, and so the play kind of broke down. Look, earlier in the season, when we had the whole boneheaded game, which was the game against Minnesota in Los Angeles, that the Lakers lost, Kobe said after the game that, or he said before the next game or something like that, he said something like, Jeremy's just got to go through this, meaning the only way you learn how to make those plays is by experiencing them, and experiencing success and experiencing failure. Obviously, we know Jeremy has succeeded well in late game situations before, like Linsanity against Toronto, or the late game 3-pointer that he hit against Oklahoma City in his first season in Houston. It's not like he can't do that. It's a new situation, new teammates, new coach, new system. So you just got to go through it. And I'm not saying he messed up, but even if he did mess up, that's part of the learning process, which is exactly what Kobe was talking about, and then Kobe was right about that. younger or inexperienced players, which does fit Jeremy, at least in an inexperienced sense. He's still relatively young. You just got to go through it. And as I mentioned, that was really, that's probably the only bad play he made tonight of the ninth, except for that turnover, which was, it just wasn't, you don't know what you can do against a defense until you try to do it. And so it's hard to understand how athletic Milwaukee is until you actually try to make an alley-oop over them. So I'm not really, I wish the play would have been successful, but I just can't get really upset about it just because he played so well throughout the game otherwise. And then, so Milwaukee got the ball back after this shot clock violation. Milwaukee got the ball back with 8 seconds left or so, and they were down 3 points. So they were going to have to get a three-pointer to tie. Now, O.J. Mayo hit a three-pointer from the left corner with about, just like 0.05 left or 0.5 left of a second left. Now, after I said all that about Jeremy and he messed up or whatever, you can also say in that situation that Byron Scott could have messed up because Byron didn't foul. If you foul in that situation, you do not allow the opponent to take a three-point shot. In other words, they get 2 free throws rather than having a chance to hit a three-point shot to tie the game. So that's on Byron Scott too. And Byron was asked about it after the game, and he said, "Look, I don't like to foul in those situations, but maybe I should. Maybe I should do that." Well, maybe you should have done it. And that's a valid point to bring up, the same as it's valid to bring up whatever happened with Jeremy on that final play for the Lakers in regulation, or the next to last possession of theirs. The last was a Nick Young heave with the 0.5 of seconds left, and he really, it wasn't going to work anyway. Look, the danger of fouling in a situation like that, the danger of choosing to foul the other team, is if you foul them and they're shooting a three-pointer, then you might have a 4-point play against you, which is they hit the three-pointer and you fouled them. Or you could foul them on a three-pointer. What you do to prevent that is you foul quicker. So if the ball's inbounded, foul quicker. Now, you will get into a free throw shooting contest then, because you foul them, they shoot free throws, then they'll foul you, and you got to hit free throws. It's true. But that is a strategy to prevent the team from having a chance to hit a three-point shot, which is what they did. So, like I said, it's a question for Byron Scott there, and he was asked it afterwards. So we went into overtime after Nick Young failed on his heave attempt. All tied at 94. Jeremy was playing in the overtime. So Jeremy, I believe he played the end of the third quarter. He played the entire fourth quarter, and now he was playing the overtime. And this is what happened in another recent Lakers game, which I can't remember who the opponent was, which was Byron went with his starters. He went with Jordan Clarkson and that whole lineup. And they played the entire fourth quarter, or most of it, and then they played the entire overtime until somebody fouled out and Carlos Boozer had to come in the game. So this is kind of what Byron does, apparently. You played down the stretch, we're going to overtime, and I'm going to stay with the same lineup. And that's what he did here. Okay? Then, so Jeremy was on the court. He had a blown assist to Wayne Ellington for a three-pointer, which Wayne Ellington missed. And then Jeremy himself missed a shot. He tried to do a fadeaway against Giannis, and it was a very tough shot. And I put a note past the ball, but the reason why Jeremy took that shot was because it was a mismatch. meaning that the point guard, who is Jeremy, was not being guarded by a point guard. He was now being guarded by a big man. And so oftentimes when you get that matchup, the point guard will shoot because the thinking is the big man can't guard the point guard. So make a move on him and get a shot. And usually that's a favorable matchup. The trouble with that is Giannis is a very good defender. He's not a typical big man. He's huge, but he's also really athletic. And he was able to bother Jeremy's shot, and Jeremy missed a shot. Okay, then Milwaukee scored. They hit a three-pointer. They're up 97-94. Then Nick Young missed a three-pointer. Milwaukee scored. They're up 99-94. Wayne Ellington hit a three-pointer. That made it 99-97. Then Jeremy got an assist to Carlos Boozer for a made jump shot. That made it 102-99. And then Jeremy was called for a foul on a Brandon Knight drive, and he was not happy about it. You could see him shaking his hands like, what? Like he was upset. In fact, it's probably about as upset as you're ever going to see Jeremy Lin. And what I liked about it was that he was fully engaged in the game. We hear all this stuff. He's not competitive enough. No, he is competitive. But to be fair to the critics, he has to find that mental zone where he can get competitive. And a lot of it's just rhythm. Give him more time, let him get in a rhythm, and he will get competitive. And he was completely locked in at this point in the game. And throughout the fourth quarter, which was his best quarter of the game by far. So he can do this. He's capable of this. You got to give him the time, give him the minutes, give him the opportunity and the backing so he can do it, and then he will do it. And he can play your defense, and he will get fired up, which is what happened here. And Byron's criticism is of Jeremy this year similar to other criticism that Jeremy's heard before, which is, okay, he's competitive for this game. What about the next game? Is his confidence going to be there the next game? Is his competitiveness going to be there the next game? And to be fair, Jeremy does need to work on that so that he can avoid that. But he's been in a variety of situations. He's a starter. He's a bench guy. He's a bench guy. He's a did-not-play guy. So he's trying to fit into his role, but the role keeps changing. The system changes. Now it's a new coach. It's a new team. It all takes time. You have to get comfortable with your situation. Once Jeremy's in a situation that he's comfortable with and he's in a role that is defined and clear, then I think you'll see more of a consistent performer in him, 9 in and 9 out. So he does need to work on it, on being consistent mentally and aggressiveness on what he's doing on the court. But some of it is circumstantial. It's situational. It's the situations that he's being put in also. Okay. Brandon Knight made both free throws. That made the score 104-99. Then Jeremy had an assist, a really nice assist for a Carlos Boozer layup. Just a terrific play. You'll see it on the highlights. That made the score 104-103. Then Ed Davis had a fantastic another interior pass to, I think, Carlos Boozer for a layup, and that made the score 104-103. We're pretty late into overtime here now. Maybe, about a minute and 10 seconds left. Then maybe the turning point in overtime, I don't know. Brandon Knight hit a three-pointer over Jeremy really late in the shot clock, and it was a very long-distance shot. It was just... I put it as a fake confidence three-pointer. Like, dude, you shouldn't be able to make that shot. Even if Jeremy Lin's guarding me, I can hit any shot in the world. We've seen guys with that attitude before, so they play above their level against Jeremy. And they can't sustain it. They're not that good against anybody else. Jeremy had very good defense, and it was just Brandon realized he had to shoot the ball. And so because of the shot clock was low, he made his mind up that he was going to shoot it. He got a little bit of separation. The reason why he had separation was because he was several feet behind the three-point line. Jerry wasn't assuming he was going to shoot this shot, but he did, and he hit it. And that made the score 107 to 103. Now, after that play, the Lakers took a timeout. There was 57 seconds left. And then they put a graphic up that said that Brandon Knight had 15 points to this point in the game in the fourth quarter and overtime. So he had heated up. Brandon is a terrific player, and he's been, in some ways, carrying the team at times this year, particularly after Jabari Parker got hurt, the excellent rookie. But Jeremy played excellent defense on him. It wasn't that Jeremy wasn't competing on defense. It wasn't that he wasn't doing it on defense. He was doing it. It's just Brandon Knight got hot after being cold early, and he can light it up when it gets hot. Okay. Then Jeremy, after the timeout, they ran a play for him. It was I don't know if it was a curl, if you call it curl, just a simple screen. Basically, the play was designed for Jeremy to come off the left side of the court and run to the middle after a screen was set for him so that he's freed up for a wide-open jump shot, essentially from about the top of the key area. The play ran, and it worked well, but I think Giannis or somebody else came out to challenge the shot. So it ended up not being as good of an open look as it could have been. But I did make the note there, and I said, you got to get your shot better. The play was run for Jeremy. You had your shot. You got to hit the shot. Now, you can't hit every shot, but it's one of the shots where it looked like Jeremy's jump shooting form needs to be better so that he has a better chance of hitting that shot. The thing with Jeremy's form on his shot is it's not consistent enough yet, meaning that it doesn't seem like the same shot time after time. The guys that are really good jump shooters, it's the same shot over and over again. And they have pretty consistent form, even if they're fading away, or if they're fading to their left, or if they're fading to their right, or if they're going forward, or if they're fading backwards. Jeremy doesn't have that yet. And that's something that takes repetition, especially if you have a new shooting form. It's just going to take him time. I mean, it could take another whole year, or maybe even longer, to lock in the form. And as I said, on that particular play, it looked like the shot is loose, meaning that the form isn't tight. And that's what it looked like on that play. Although, again, to be fair, the shot was, he had to adjust the shot because of the defense. So it might not have been a pure shooting form there, just because of you have to make it higher to get it over the defense's hands. Okay, then Carlos Boozer had an offensive foul, and then the Milwaukee scored. It made it 109-103, so it just didn't look good there at this point. 20 seconds left. Jeremy was fouled. He hit both free throws, and then he had to foul somebody to try to get the ball back to the Lakers, and that was with 11 seconds left, and he fouled out of the game. So that little sequence there, Brandon Knight hits a three-pointer over Jeremy, and Jeremy's not able to capitalize on that designed play for him. Look, they kind of turned the tide there at the end. I don't fault Jeremy on either play. He played terrific defense on Brandon Knight in that sequence, and he ran the play for the jump shot. He just didn't make the jump shot. So that was basically it. Milwaukee won 113-105. And again, there's little to fault Jeremy with in terms of effort in this game, or the Lakers overall. They played hard. They made adjustments during the game in terms of figuring out Milwaukee's defense. Then Milwaukee went on a run, and then Los Angeles had the final run in regulation. They just couldn't hold it in that last sequence. So Jeremy had to play at the end of regulation. He had this tough sequence of plays near the end of overtime, but he played well. He played hard. He played hard on offense and defense. He commanded the team. It's a great outing. Like I said, I thought the Lakers were going to get blown out in this game. I really did, because of the history between Scott and Kidd, and because the Lakers are on the road. They're not a very good team, and Milwaukee's won 4 games straight. And Brandon Knight, who might be the best player on the team, is back from injury. So I thought that they might get blown out in this game, and that didn't happen at all. So I like the effort, and I like the execution by Jeremy. Now, like I said, sure, we'd love it if he shot the ball better, and we'd like it if that final play in regulation went differently. Other than that, he played great. He did exactly what he should do as a point guard in this game, and I thought it was one of his best performances of the game. After the game, just to wrap up, Byron Scott praised Jeremy and said that he did a good job, and he did. So I'm glad that Byron said that he did, and that is good to hear. Okay, let's talk about the next game now. The Lakers will continue their road trip. I think is this the Grammy trip? It's like when they go on a road trip because they're going to have the Grammys in Staples Center or something. I don't follow all that stuff particularly closely, so I don't know. I do think this is the Grammy trip, but I'm not certain of that. So tonight was their second straight game on the road, and they have 2 more upcoming games on the road before they go back to Staples Center, and the next game will take place here in the United States Friday, February 6th, which is 2 days from now, or 2 days from when they played the Bucks, and it will be against the Orlando Magic in Orlando, Florida. That game will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that means 4 p.m. Pacific Time. And it means it will take place at 8 a.m. on Saturday, February 7th in Taiwan, the Philippines, and in China. Orlando is an up-and-down team. They have some talent on their team. Their record isn't that good. The Lakers, in terms of talent and matchup, will have a chance to win the game. But Orlando does have some good players, particularly their center, Vucevic. He's a very talented player, and they've got some other talented players as well. So it's not going to be a pushover game. It's definitely not a give-me game or anything like that. So, but it is a game that they should have a realistic shot at winning. So hopefully they'll be able to get that done and just get some more wins in their column right now. They're it's a long season. It's a tough season. Things haven't gone the way that we wanted, but just got to keep playing and hopefully you can kind of scratch out some wins and figure some things out. I said, if I'm Byron Scott, I'm definitely going to play Jeremy Lin, Ed Davis, and Carlos Boozer a lot together because those guys have it clicking right now. They really do. And it's fun to watch. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. We want to thank Gary Chen for the artwork you're looking at right now. And we'll give you information about Gary. You can go check him out on Facebook in the video description below the video player. Also in the video description, you'll find information so you can go and check out highlights of this game. Additionally, in the video description, you'll see how you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group, which has over 3,500 members and counting, and how you can come and follow us on Twitter, where we love to talk with people and interact. In fact, earlier tonight, we really got to meet Sam from Sacramento, who's a huge Jeremy Lin fan, And we welcome Sam to the JLin global fan community. And we hope all you guys will reach out to Sam. You can see it. I just put a tweet out, several retweets tonight, and a tweet with Sam's Twitter handle. And I hope you guys will welcome him in. I know that a number of people already have. And look, we see on Twitter that the sun never sets on JLin's fan community, and it doesn't. So there's always somebody up. There's always somebody that wants to talk about Jeremy, and it just, talk to you, talk to whomever. Jeremy's fans are really nice. They're smart. A lot of them are religious, so they're caring, decent people. Not that people who aren't religious are not decent people, but just a lot of these people are really nice and they're sweet, and they care about people. So it's just a great community to be a part of. And so we certainly love meeting new people, and we love to see other people welcomed in and kind of join the group. So it's great that Sam's doing that, and it's great to have him as part of the crew. Okay, once again, I am PFE Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 JLin YouTube fan channel. I'm satisfied with this performance. It's unfortunate that the end of regulation didn't go a little bit differently, so that the Lakers get the win, and JLin's the leader of the win. But he played well. Again, the 6-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. It's fantastic. Just got to take it where it is. And again, the team's still figuring out a lot of things. The rotations aren't necessarily set up for the team to succeed realistically. So you take everything into account, and it was a good night for the Lakers, and they can be satisfied with their performance. And certainly so can Jeremy. And Jeremy was, I watched Jeremy's post-game interview. I think it was Tracy that forwarded it to me on Twitter. If it wasn't, I apologize to whoever it was. Look, he was a little bit down because he wanted to win. But, you could tell I think he felt okay about how he and the team did tonight. And so that is good to see. And so let's move on to Orlando and try it all again there in less than 48 hours. Okay, hope you have a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Stay warm in the Northern Hemisphere. We know that Nate in New York City is dealing with like a foot of snow. I'm in the same situation here in Northeast Pennsylvania. So we've got a bunch of snow on the ground, and it's the dead of winter. This week, first week of February, is kind of like the core heart of winter in the Northern Hemisphere. So the good thing is once you get out of the next couple of weeks, then you're heading right into spring. And the Southern Hemisphere, of course, it's the middle of summer. We hope everybody's enjoying it down there, staying cool, having fun in the sun. And if you live near the equator, like a lot of our friends in the Philippines and in Taiwan, it's pretty much always summer. So that's got its pluses and minuses. And we want to say for sure, our condolences go out to the victims of the Trans-Asia plane crash in Taiwan. That was really a tragic event. And it's, man, if you've seen the video of it and everything, it was just, man, it's horrible. I guess there was something, the last I heard, it was like 28 confirmed fatalities, and it's just terrible. It's a terrible way to go. So we pay our respects to the families and friends of the victims of that, and hopefully the people that survived can heal up and move on, and hopefully there won't be anything more like that anytime soon in Taiwan or anywhere else. So Okay, that's it. We'll talk to you again soon. We'll look for you in the comments, and we'll look for you on Twitter. Until then, until next time, take care. And like I said, for Lin fans, stay positive. If 33 more games at worst, and then Jeremy gets to move on maybe to the next stop. So he's doing his thing, and so it's good to see.